Time for Thinking Real Estate. Jackie Austin back this week. Hosting.
Hi.
Hi, Jackie.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Well, I brought in a special guest, so as usual, we brought
Good
in.
move.
I know it's would be boring with just me. So we brought in Mike Archer from Mortgage One, and what we're going to be talking about today is kind of this really cool program for first-time home buyers, and I'll let Mike kind of describe it, but he thought it'd be a good time to come in and talk about that, and I agree. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely.
Yeah, I manage the office at Mortgage One, located right downtown at 100 South Jackson in the Fields Building. And we've been down there for approximately a year now.
Okay.
We opened back in January 3rd of 12.
Wow, so it's just
1 year
over a
anniversary.
Yeah, good.
And in kind of time sensitive, I guess, I wanted to talk about a first-time homebuyer program that just came out mid-December, and it really is an awesome product for a first-time homebuyer. It's money that was allocated by the state of Michigan. They were proceeds from a lawsuit with some of the big banks, so it is in essence free money. It's not tax money. And it's being designated for first-time home buyers, people purchasing a home, purchasing a primary residence for the first time. And the key thing is they define a first-time home buyer as someone who has not owned a home in 3 years. So just because you've owned a home in the past does not mean you would not be eligible for these funds. Again, they've allocated about $15 million, or exactly $15 million. To date, we've used 13.2, or excuse me, there's 13.2 left.
Okay.
So we've used roughly 1.8.
Okay. And how long has the program been available?
Since mid-December.
Okay, so not very long, but
So not very long. And interestingly enough is the fact that we called MSHDA last week to get an update on the balance of this fund. You know, how much money do we have left? And they told us that Mortgage One is by far the largest user of these proceeds, which lends you to believe that we're the biggest first-time home buyer lender in the state.
Yeah.
You know.
well, that's good. You know, I've been working with a couple of different lenders that didn't even know about it, and they were first-time home buyers, so we brought it to their attention, and we haven't had one go through yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah, the key with this money is also that you can't reserve the funds up front. Your loan has to be through the process and cleared to close, a close date set before you can reserve the money, and it's being dispersed through MSHDA, the government office up in Lansing, and they will wire the money directly to the title company. So it's something that if somebody's in the process of purchasing a home right now, if they are a first-time home buyer and their lender does not participate in this, I would find a lender who does. Because again, it's basically free money. There's no qualification other than being a first-time home buyer. There's no repayment. There's no income qualifying.
And the money can go towards down payments or closing costs, right?
Exactly. It can be used for down payment, closing costs, your prepaid expenses, your homeowner's insurance, and if there's still some left over, we can allocate it towards a principal reduction.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They cannot receive cash back, but if there are proceeds left, we reduce the principal, so they're borrowing less.
I think that's even
over
better
the long
than
term.
getting cash back
Exactly,
sometimes.
Saving money. And they did break the money down into two categories. So if you are a military person, if you're currently in the military or an ex-military person, a veteran, the amount that you will receive is $5,000.
Oh, wow, okay.
If you're not military, it's $3,000. So either way, it's a phenomenal benefit for first-time home buyers who typically struggle with coming up with down payment, closing costs, what have you, and it's helping a lot of people get into homes.
Yeah.
What's the name of the program, Mike?
It's just called the MSHDA First Time Home Buyer Grant.
Okay.
And it really has nothing to do with MSHDA per se. MSHDA sometimes scares people,
Yeah,
right, Jackie?
because it's government. Yeah.
It's being simply dispersed through MSHDA. The state got this $15 million, had to figure out a way to disperse it, and MSHDA was the most logical place to go and say, okay, you know, we need you to set this up, receive the funds, disperse the funds, track it, just make sure everything happens okay. And it's really a simple process. The buyer simply signs an application. It's one page. We send it to the MSHDA office, and they wire the funds to the title company.
Now, it sounds too good to be true.
Well, it does. I know, and that's why I wanted to get on the show today and just talk about it, because there is $13.2 million left, but when it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
It's not a program that's going to last for 6 months. Initially, we thought, 30 to 60 days. For some reason, it's not being used as rapidly as we thought, and so I expect probably funds to be available through the end of March.
Yeah.
Given,
Well, I think the reason it's not being used is a lot of people don't know about it yet. I mean, we had a buyer bring it to us. Actually, she heard about it. One of your mortgage officers put it on her Facebook, and so it just kind of trickled over to us. So we hadn't heard about it, but she brought it to us and her lender, and it just, again, it sounded too good to be true, but from what we're hearing on our end, it is that simple.
It really is, and it's we're trying to get the word out, let people know. I had a VA borrower come in yesterday, and the VA rate was at 3.5. He was kind of looking for a lower rate, so we're going to be able to use that $5,000, buy his rate down to 3%, and he's still going to have $3,000 left for a principal reduction.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to have a VA loan at 3% for 30 years fixed.
Yeah.
And just a phenomenal situation for him in particular. It gets his payment extremely reasonable, and
Right,
and we're just happy to do
The
it.
VA loans are zero down, so he really can use a lot of that for a principal reduction.
Exactly. VA loan in particular is an awesome product because there's zero down and there's no monthly PMI.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's just a bonus right there. So, so it is, it's that easy, and I know we've got another buyer right now that's, their lender is just got qualified to do whatever it is you guys have to do on your end to actually submit the application. So, they're going to be using that, and, the bonus for this particular buyer is we were waiting on the closing. They're ready to go, but they have a lease, and they didn't want to break their lease. Well, now they can use this money will help give them a little extra so they can break their lease and get it closed sooner and get into their home sooner than they had hoped. So it's a nice little perk for them. It's not not something everybody can do, but that particular one worked. So we're excited about that one. So what else is going on in the mortgage industry? Anything else exciting going on, or?
Exciting in the
New
mortgage
year,
industry?
I know, it's a new
Oh,
year,
Let me think. It's exciting for us. We just completed our first year, and it was very successful. We do predominantly what we handle at Mortgage One are purchase transactions.
Okay.
A lot of the big banks in town and out are buried in refinance transactions right now. A lot of people trying to refinance. They're going through their bank, through their current servicer, which has really bogged down their systems, as you can imagine. And where, being new in Jackson, we don't have a lot of that. People just, hey, let's call Mortgage One. They don't really know us yet. So, which kind of works to our advantage in the purchase market, because the realtors do know us. We get a lot of referrals from the real estate community, and I think that's because we do a good job, and we focus on purchases, and we turn them really quickly. I have an experienced staff, and that makes all the difference in the world.
You and your staff have both been around Jackson for a long time, even though it's not been particularly with Mortgage One, but...
Right. We worked at a big bank. I managed a big bank in Jackson for a long time. Been lending for, goodness, makes me sound old, probably 23 years now. Started when I was 12.
You don't do any refis, Mike?
Well, I don't want to say that. We do, probably the breakdown of our business last year was 90% purchases, 10% refis. We do refis, absolutely. Never turn a loan away. But we just don't have a lot coming at us.
Mhm.
But absolutely, if somebody wants to refinance, be more than happy to help them out with that. But again, as far as anything, something exciting in the mortgage business, I guess, is just the fact that if someone is looking at purchasing a home, it's a perfect storm right now in the sense that the values of homes are so low, and the interest rates are so low.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a phenomenal opportunity for a young person, or even if you're not young, to purchase a home and lock in a great interest rate, a great price. I financed a young lady out in Brooklyn a couple of weeks ago. Bought a home for roughly $70,000, and she used the Mr. Grant money, and her total payment with taxes and insurance, principal and interest, was $478.
Oh, wow.
So it was under $500, and really you can't find a place to rent for that.
No, you can't.
So,
You can't.
she was just tickled to death, and we were happy to help her get into that situation. And she's already sent me 3 or 4 referrals since, which
It's always nice when you can get
is a
those.
win-win, absolutely.
So, well, what are some other? I know you guys have done a lot of these MSHDA loans. What are? Have you had any other really cool success stories, or things that people are doing with the money that might be a little unusual?
Well, I wouldn't say unusual. The money, especially this particular money, has to be used towards the transaction.
Right. Yes,
So,
obviously.
it's being used simply for down payment, prepaids, closing costs.
They don't ever
Or-
see the money, do they?
They do not.
Okay.
That's one of the stipulations.
Yeah.
They can't walk away with $3,000 cash in their pocket.
Mhm.
It's the money is wired directly to the title company who's closing the transaction, and it shows up on their closing statement as a $3,000 credit, and it's got to be allocated towards that transaction. Yeah, we've closed. I think my office has closed probably 12 of these.
Oh, wow.
It's just, and like I said, you have to be a first-time home buyer, but that's defined as somebody hasn't owned a home in 3 years. I'm closing a deal in 2 weeks with a gentleman that is 68 years old. He's owned homes in the past, but not in the past 3 years. He's a military vet, and he's receiving $5,000.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. That's a cool story.
How tough is it, Mike, for the first timers, as far as credit and et cetera?
Yeah, it's definitely tougher than where we were 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we needed to be tougher. It was a little out of control back then, but
It's a lot out of control.
it was a lot out of control.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It was.
But for first-time home buyers that have stable employment, that have demonstrated an ability to save some money, that have kept their credit in reasonably good shape, it's not hard. The process takes a little longer, and we're much more detailed. We're going to ask everything about you and then some, and we've got to cross our T's, dot our I's, and just leave no stone unturned, because there's so much scrutiny in the mortgage industry right now. Why did you make this loan? You have to kind of cover all your bases and cover yourself. But for somebody that has stable employment, decent credit, a down payment, even if you don't have a down payment, we've got some options like this for that.
Is there a credit score out there that you just thumbs down?
We tend to stay at, we use the 640 mark.
Okay.
If you're 640 or above, we can certainly help you. If you're below 640, some programs do go down to 620. But once you fall below 620, there really is nothing with us or anybody else. It's just, in the past, you could see scores going down to the low 5s, right, Jackie? And that was back in the day when
anybody and their brother could get a loan.
that's correct.
So if you are, Mike, if you are borderline, there are some programs.
There are typically, if somebody's borderline, what we do is we'll sit down with that purchaser, that potential home buyer, and look at their credit, go through it with them, and try to show them ways to increase their credit score. Because even though we might be able to get them into a program right now, with lower credit, the system, the mortgage business has gone to more of a risk-based pricing model where the lower scores represent higher risk and the rate is going to be compensated for that.
Sure.
So if somebody's at 620, 630, 640, yeah, maybe we can get a deal done for you, but if you do a couple things, maybe in 2 to 3 months, we get your score up to 680, 690, and you get a much better interest rate, and the process goes much smoother. So for people that are willing to wait, they have a little patience, they're willing to work on their credit, we are more than happy to sit down with them, show them what they need to do, and help them secure a better rate over the long term.
Are there any specific things that people can do, just kind of a general, to increase their credit score?
Well, certainly the most obvious, pay your bills on time.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know,
that'd help.
That helps. If you have a loan, you know, make your payments on time. Credit cards, you want to keep your balance at or below 50% of your limit.
Okay.
Meaning if you've got a credit card with a $5,000 limit, keep your balance at or below $2,500. That will help your credit.
Okay.
If it's over that, pay it down and get it below that mark. Pay off any collections, any medical bills that might be outstanding. Try to limit the amount of people pulling your credit. Believe it or not, inquiries, a large amount of inquiries on your report can negatively affect a score.
Okay. What about like closing credit cards? I've heard from different people, you know, go ahead and close it when you pay it off, or some people say, well, don't pay it completely off, leave it on there, but just keep the balance low. Is there good or bad to either of those situations? Or?
You know, I don't think that matters,
Okay.
whether you leave it open or not. If you've got, you know, 30 open credit cards, that is probably not a good thing,
Okay.
simply for you.
Right.
Trying to keep track of that many. And if you're not using them, I would close them out just to make sure something doesn't happen with that card, or
Okay.
you know, identity theft, you know, all that potential that's there. I would just keep the amount of cards that you're going to use, you know, 2, 3, 4, whatever that number is, and just keep track of them and keep track of your credit. You know, you're by law you're able to pull a free credit report annually,
Okay.
and so you can basically pull every 3 months, because you can pull from each bureau.
Oh, okay.
So you can pull one from TransUnion, wait 3 months, pull one from Experian, wait 3 months and pull one from Equifax.
Oh, okay.
And for people interested in doing that, the website is www.annualcreditreport.com.
Well, there you go. I never knew that website, so that's good.
That is the legit one. There's a lot of other ones out there.
Yeah, I see those
Some with a
commercials
pretty cool
online.
jingle.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, we just got a couple minutes left here. Any last minute things you want to remind people or tell people about getting a mortgage or about your company? How do people get a hold of you if they have questions?
Yeah. Our office phone number is 517-315-4626. 315-4626. We're located, again, right downtown Jackson in the Fields building,
Okay.
up on the second floor, right above Wells Fargo there. And we're just, you know, we're there for people. Our business is lending money, and we've got a lot of experience, and we'll find a way to help people. If we can't help you right away, we'll put you on a track where we can help you down the road. You know, every customer, whether we can help you now or down the road, is important to us. So, you know, if you're struggling right now with credit or something like that, you know, come and see us, and we'll kind of give you a roadmap to follow. And maybe we can't help you now, but 12 months down the road, we can get you into a home.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming, and I appreciate all the information. Remember, if there's anybody out there that's a new first-time home buyer, check out that MSHDA First-Time Home Buyer Grant, because it's certainly something that's easy to get, and you can definitely take advantage of it. So, If anybody wants to reach me or Laura, you can reach us at thinkingrealestate.com or 517-780-3800.
Good job. Smooth.
Did I talk too much?
No, that's perfect.
No.